if you're somebody that sat on the sidelines seeing all of the crazy things we're doing here for our students at WeTrade, this is an interview to watch. This is my personal student Connor, who was sat on the sideline watching what we were doing for a long, long time. When he finally decided to take action on his trading, he came straight to us. After just months of work, he is now 400k funded, had multiple payouts. He's earning a really good living from his trading. So check this one out, because it's a real testament of what hard work does in this game. I mean, we've spoken a ton over the last, I don't even know how long we've been working together, but maybe 2 years, I think.
No, not even that. So, I spoke to you for the last time when I went to Dubai last May, and I joined then.
Yeah, because I remember we first spoke a while ago, didn't we? And then I think you had a load of other stuff going on in your life, didn't you? And you kind of delayed getting started, but then eventually you did sort of kick things on. So I guess, I mean, let's firstly start. I mean, if you could just give everybody who's watching this or who's going to be watching this a bit of an introduction into yourself, and we'll have a little talk through your story with us.
I'm Connor, 31 years old now, live in Lincolnshire. Obviously joined you about 30 months ago now. But yeah, I remember that we spoke, I would say easy, 3-4 years ago. I followed you on Instagram, and I had my CBD company at the time. I was busy, spoke about joining, never really took that leap. And then I remember I went to Dubai last May, and saw you was living out there. So I dropped you a message, but you was like, "Oh, let's meet for a coffee." But I was literally just got to the airport to go home. I was like, "Oh, fuck it, let's get on a call. Let's have a chat and let's get things kicking." So yeah, that was it, wasn't it? We joined
Yeah,
up straight away.
yeah, yeah. I remember we got you enrolled. So when you decided to start working with us, had you traded before at that point, or were you completely fresh?
So off the back of that, I'd had a little dabble in live trading on a bit of gold. Your typical Telegram groups telling you to buy and sell and all that shit, but that's it. Nothing else. No experience in
Okay.
strategy, no experience in technical or fundamental analysis, nothing. It was just that.
Yeah. And I know that when you did start, you were, I mean, you obviously had your business there. You were doing your own things already. What was the main, what was the main reason you wanted to get into trading in the first place? What was the motivation for you?
Well, the CBD company had gone down. I'd lost that. I had a really good 5 years out of it and then lost it. And then I'd sold my vape and sunbed shop. So I thought, I need to do something new now. You know, I wasn't working, wasn't doing anything. I was sat on an all right chunk of money. Started working a bit with my mate, just keeping me busy. And then I thought, I need to do something new. But my old businesses, the worst thing about it was having staff, 100%. So I thought, I want to do something on my own where I can be with my laptop wherever I can in the world and work. So, you know, it was either ecom, buying and selling products, but you've still got stresses and overheads, or it was trading. So, you know, we'd already spoke before. I'd followed you for a number of years. You already gained my trust. So I felt like taking the leap and jumping with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, aside from that, I mean, what were the main reasons that you did decide to go with us? I mean, there's hundreds of companies out there that you could go with. What was what were some of the things that
I
you were
think it was
looking
the
for,
trust
I
that,
guess?
you know, if I ever message you, you were messaging back. You know, it was you messaging back. It wasn't a generic person. It wasn't a bot. It wasn't like, oh, let's jump on a call. Let's do this. Let's hear the prices. It was just general messaging back and forth. You know, you just gain someone's trust. And then if you have that little bit of connection with someone, you have a good chat with them, there's automatically there. And then let's be honest, we spoke like 3-4 years ago. 3-4 years down the line, you've moved to Dubai. If you're not doing what you say you're doing, how are you going to hold up that lifestyle? How are you still going to be active 3-4 years later if you was a scammer?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even in that time period, I think I actually lost my business in that period of time, and then I was still able to move to Dubai and continue living my
Yeah,
life, which is kind of like, okay, like obviously obviously something is going on there. I had no business at that point, so yeah, no,
yeah.
I see where you're coming from. So obviously you started working with us 13 months ago now, I think it
About
was.
30 months ago, properly. Yeah, yeah. It was
Yeah.
probably the start of June last year.
Okay. Okay. Cool. And sort of getting started, because I know. I mean, we've been working through mentorship for a good chunk of that. I know that you've had your sort of ups and downs, and you've sort of been working on it, then you've sort of fallen off a little bit, then come back. So
Yeah.
I guess through that sort of first maybe 6 or 7 months of sort of learning how to trade, what were some of the things that you were sort of having to deal with when you were going through that I guess maybe led you to fall off and come back and stuff like that?
The things that were making me fall off was being inconsistent, 100%. Like I said, I was working a little bit with my mate at the time, whether it be part time, full time, during week. He would just let me know when he needed me. So to be consistent in trading, you have to turn up on the charts every day, no matter what. Turn up on the chart. You can watch bars go up and down for 3-4 hours, and it is daunting. It's boring. It's crap. It's not exciting. But then you have to turn up the next day, and the next day, and the next day. I've had weeks where I didn't turn up for 2 days, and they're the days that you or other students were posting wins. So it's like, oh yeah, I've took a 3% loss this week or whatever, but everyone else is up because you've missed that one day. So it's the consistency without a doubt for the start, and maybe mentality as well. Maybe the mentality side comes into it. Do you know when you get kicked? Like, I failed 4 challenges, I think, before I passed one, 3 or 4. When you're getting knocked down constantly like that, it is hard to just keep going, thinking there's a positive side to it. But again, it's just consistency and discipline. Don't veer from the strategy. Just stick to it. Do as you're told. Just turn up every day. Do the correct things. You should be in profit. There's an edge to it. Clearly works.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. And I think I remember this correctly, but I'm sure when you started, you didn't really have mentorship to start with. I think that we started the mentorship a little bit later down the line, if I
would
remember
say
right.
it was about 1-2 months afterwards. Yeah, I mean, we'd spoke about it, but I said I'll pay for the bottom package and I'll just start working through it. Then when I started getting the grips of it, I thought mentorship is something you need in this game. You need a mentor. You cannot just take this on. If I thought I could just take it on and do it, I'd just go and watch YouTube videos. You know, but then if you think you need the guidance, you need the mental support, you need the one-on-ones, 100%. It's an absolute game changer for something like this.
So did you think that was kind of a bit of
go into a business blind? You won't go and start a business on your own without a mentor or research, or it's the same.
Yeah, I know. I kind of remember some of the calls that we had early on, and it was very much about just having that accountability and just being. I think it was very much just that consistency. Like you can sit there and trade all week, but if you do have these little lapses of focus where you are just off doing something else for an hour in the morning, I mean, that 1 hour could be you just completely missing the upside for the whole week, really. Like there's so much you can lose just from not being sat there.
Yeah, literally. That was it. It was the consistency. The days that I had work, I had to be off the computer by 8 o'clock and leaving the house. My typical trading time would be pre 7 o'clock. I'd get on the charts for 6:45. Try and wake up before that. Otherwise, you make silly decisions. And then typically, if I haven't seen anything or it's not moving correctly by 9, half 9, you pretty much know that that's London session over. So you've still got an hour and a half window there after I had to leave for work where you could still be trading. Then you get into work, checking your phone, trying to trade on your phone. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. You take this on properly or you don't do it. If you want to be profitable, you have to fuck everything else off. You have to, I'm not saying fuck your job off and stuff, but you have to fuck off any distraction and you have to put your head in it properly.
Yeah. I mean, I think, it is so important. You have to have that window in the morning where you're saying nothing else here is taking any of my focus, because it is. I mean, like you look at the way we trade, right? You have the trade can play out and happen, and you're going to be in the market in 5 or 10 minute window.
Yeah.
You could be going and making a coffee, and you could miss that. So that focus is super important. Again, I think this is one of the reasons why we're very specific who we work with, right? We need to understand, because of the guarantees we put in place, right? We make sure that we're going to get people results. And if we can't, then we're going to put our money where our mouth is, so that we have to make sure that if somebody comes on board, they're going to be somebody that has got the ability to say, okay, between this time and this time, I'm giving 100% focus on my trading. Otherwise, they're never going to make it work, right? And they end up being inconsistent, not because the strategy is inconsistent, but because they can't apply the strategy consistently. And that's always such a big thing.
Don't get me wrong. You know, if you turn up like this week is the first negative week I've had since I've been funded. I'm minus 1%. I took one trade and I'm still turning up every day on the charts. And yeah, it's fucking boring because you're sat there just watching bars move about. But if you want to earn money off it, you have to take that. Well, I mean, would you rather sit at a desk job for 10 hours a day being bored out your head, or in the morning on your own computer at home for 3 hours?
Yeah. And even in a job, you get paid once a month.
Yeah.
Just like traders expect to be turning up every day and getting paid every day. It's like,
yeah,
how it works.
People need to come into trading and get rid of all this bullshit expectation that they think traders do. Like, it's not a get rich quick scheme. You're not going to start earning money straight away. You're not going to be driving Lambos within 6 months. Like, get rid of all that shit and treat it as an actual job. Treat it as a job.
Soon as you
turn up, you learn, put the strategy in place, turn up every day on time, head in the right game, get your emotion out of it. I mean, everything we're saying makes it sound really difficult, but the strategy is really not difficult. The way you teach it and the way you apply it, I think it's very, very simple. If you can take your emotion out of it and turn up every day, it's not a difficult thing to do. It's the hardest
just being
way
able to
make
do
the
that.
easiest money. It's mental.
Yeah. I mean, it just takes a lot of, I mean, it's like a business, right? If anybody started a business, they'll know that you have to work every single day non-stop in order to build that momentum and the understanding of what that process is going to be for you to make money. It's the same with trading, but you haven't got to deal with any products. You haven't got to deal with staff. You haven't got to deal with all of this other stuff. You have to deal with your mind. And that's the big thing. Like, as soon as you've got that strategy that is proven and you know it works, it's just then about getting the right psychology to be able to just turn up every day and just be mechanical. Like, it sounds so much easier.
Yeah, be a robot. Yeah, be a robot.
That's it.
You
But
won't
then
even notice the shift. It'll just click. And you'll be like, oh shit, I'm profitable this week. You know, one thing that changed my game of being the profitable and consistency was I remember we had a one-on-one and we went through doing the analysis. And you said, look, this changed the way I trade and it changed the way I see it. Try this. And we started doing that weekly analysis. So every Sunday, I back test the results, back test like the whole week, then compare that results to my results that I got. And I asked myself why they're different. Why are these results different? You turned up, you were watching it. Why didn't you take that trade? Why did you take that trade? What have you done wrong? Because my back testing is profitable, but I'm not. So why? You know, going over that. Then if you do that on a Sunday, your mindset's ready for the markets on the Monday. You're not going to make that same mistake again. That's what definitely changed my game in the trading, 100%.
Yeah. No, I'm a big believer and a big preacher in the weekly trade assessments. I think it's so easy for somebody to trade the week, think that that's just the performance that they should be getting, and then they just get bogged down, and then they have this horrible mindset coming into the following week, and then they expect something to change, but nothing changes if nothing changes. And you have to understand the specifics and come to conclusions as to why you're not getting the results that you want. And I mean, I'm sure you've seen it from your weekly trade assessments. 9.9 times out of 10, it's just your psychology. It's the fact that there's been trades there. There's been trades there that you haven't pulled the trigger on because you thought something was going to happen.
Yeah.
So you've made an emotional decision and not a mechanical decision, which has impacted your results. And that is, I mean, I've got about 66 mentorship clients at the moment.
Jesus
Some of them are a bit early, but the ones that are in the process of doing weekly trade assessments and trying to find that performance, every single one of them, it's just a psychology thing. Every single one.
Yeah. But the strategy is the same for everybody. No one changes the strategy. It's the same. So the only thing it can be is them. I had one last week. I don't particularly trade supply and demand. I'm just starting to dabble into it a little bit now. So for my funded challenges at the minute, I'm being a bit more aggressive than my actual funded accounts to try and get them through. So I'm trading supply and demand. And I had my weekly analysis last week. I ended up at 3%. I took a 1% loss and I took a 4% win on Thursday morning. And there was a decent supply and demand New York trade on maybe Tuesday, something like that. And I watched it play out, marked it out, didn't take it. And I thought, I'm on a funded challenge. Why the fuck am I not just taking it? And that week would have ended up at like 7% up. Instead, it ended up at 3% up. That difference at the end of the month is huge.
But yeah, I mean, that's 100% it. It's like when you start to quantify what missing one of those trades does and the consequences of you not pulling the trigger. I mean, 100K funded, you get 4% win.
Yeah.
You're missing out on, with the payout split, 3.5 grand basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
like 80% of 4K. Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
So big consequences, and it's like, well, if I look at that, I'm on a challenge. What is the downside of this? The downside is I lose $1,000 of money that's not mine.
Yeah.
The consequences.
I'm already 3% up. Well, no, I wasn't at that point actually. That was Thursday. I was already 1% down. So yeah, you could have an argument saying, "Oh, I'm already 1% down. I don't want to be 2% down," but that shouldn't change how you feel. Like, you shouldn't take more risk because you're 3% up than you're 1% down. You shouldn't. It's just do it. Just take it.
Yeah,
What's the harm?
yeah,
Take it.
100%. I mean,
I've learned more from my losing trades than I have my winning trades. Winning trades are easy. They're fucking easy. You set the order, it tags in and goes, and you're like, "Oh, that was easy." What? Set your TP and let it do its thing.
Yeah, you can't impact that trade. It's it either meets your rules or it doesn't. You just got to follow the process.
Yeah.
So obviously we've sort of been through this process, getting you really on track, getting you to do the weekly trade assessment so you can really find that performance. Since sort of having that breakthrough moment and really becoming consistently profitable, what's happened since then? I know that you're currently 200K funded, right?
Yeah, I'm 200K funded, and I've got 200K's worth of challenges on the go as well. And then there was a 30% off alpha a few days ago for Father's Day. So I bought another 200K while it was 30% off. But I've just got that sat in the background. I've not even started that yet. So I'm profitable this month currently on my 200K funded, and I'm 3 or 3.5% up on my new 200K challenge.
Okay.
My goal is to get 1 million. I want 1 million.
You'll be over half the way done if you get the next 2 challenges finished.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be happy at the minute, with profitability. I'll be happy if I pass 1 in 2 challenges, 1 in 3 challenges. I'm still laughing then.
Yeah. And the thing is, right,
failing a challenge when you've already got funding, you're not in a rush to pass them anymore. So be aggressive with them.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I also think that when you're looking at this from a business perspective, you should look at risk to reward in terms of how much have I made and how much, what my outlay, what my costs here. So, okay, I've got a 200K account and I've got a 5% payout, but I've bought myself so much profit in the business. I've got enough to set aside for my expenses, which are going to be your challenges. So if I fail a challenge and it costs me 900 quid, well, I'm still up because I've already got this 5% payout on the 200 grand account. So your risk then becomes pretty much zero, especially when you get that payout and you get a refund as well.
You're still in profit. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
People need to take trading and use it as an actual business. Use it as a tool. I mean, I owned businesses before trading. You've owned businesses before trading. We're already going to have that mindset of reinvestment and stuff like that. It's the same as when I purchased this course from you. I didn't see it as an outgoing. I saw it as an investment. I'm going to make money off this in the long term, 100%. I'm going to make it work. It's the same with the challenges. When you've 200, 400, 600K in profit, don't start getting payouts and buying loads of shit you don't need, like watches and nice clothes and that. Reinvest it straight away, because next minute you'll be on 1 million funded. Then you can start enjoying yourself. So I said to you before this, what I'm doing currently is any payouts that I'm getting from my funded account, I'm taking 50% of that pot and building a live capital pot, which is going to be compounding on the side.
Yeah. I think
forget about it.
Yeah, I think we've spoken about that, and I think I've got a YouTube video on that as well. It's just like building that wealth building machine. This is like new age compound interest on steroids.
Yeah,
because your investment is really small, your opportunity is huge.
Yeah,
and then the amount that you can then reinvest is like, you're making like 100x returns on your investment. To be fair, if you get a first payout, you're then infinitely infinitely profitable. Your return on investment is infinite because you get a refund anyway. So it's like,
Yeah,
it becomes like an unlimited income, like,
that's it.
cycle.
Don't go spunking the money up the wall. Reinvest it, 100%.
Yeah.
Like you
And
just
like,
said,
yeah,
you're taking, say you take 5K profit at the end of the month. Why go spend that 5K on yourself when you can buy 5 challenges? Go buy 5 challenges and just be aggressive as fuck on them. If they lose, well, you haven't lost any money. If they
yeah.
win, you've got all the opportunity to make an absolute fortune.
You've got $1
And
million
building
in
that
funding then,
live
haven't you?
capital pot, say I'm taking 50% out of what I earn a month. Really, that's not even my money, is it? I've not even seen it in my bank. I'm just moving it straight to a live capital.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
in 5 years' time, there could be 6, 7, 8 figures in there. You don't know.
And you don't even need to take the money out. Like, there is no need to
Yeah.
withdraw that money because you have those two pots where you have one that is essentially that long-term wealth building compound interest account. And then you've got your funded accounts, which, yes, is going to give you that income. And yes, 50% is going to go into this savings pot essentially. And then you start to pay for your lifestyle with the payouts. You don't have to touch on that pot that's giving you that compound interest, that sort of long-term saving. And again, I got a YouTube video on this, and I'm a big believer in sort of having this system in place just to,
Yeah.
I mean, it gives you the best of both worlds, right? It gives
Yeah,
you everything that you're
100%.
going
Yeah,
to need.
definitely. It's a no-brainer to do it like that. I mean, why start spending? If you've got 100K funding, don't take a 2, 3K payout and spend it. Reinvest it, buy challenges.
Yeah.
Next minute, you could have $1 million in funding. If you're earning 7, 8, 9, 10% a month of $1 million funded, you're laughing, aren't you?
Yeah.
50K into a live account at the end of the month with 50K in your pocket, you're laughing.
Well, you start to put yourself in a position where that one, let's say that £500 investment on that first 100K account, obviously this is if everything went perfectly well, you get that account passed, you go and get yourself a 5% payout on that account, you buy yourself another couple of challenges that can get you to 6, 7, 800K in funding, you go and make 5, 10% on that account, you're pretty much in a couple of months, a handful of months, giving yourself a yearly salary. So then you can really take the pressure off at that point.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to earn any money. So you then start to trade way better because your psychology is in a much better position. And then again, you just reinvest that next payout and you've got immediately $1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million in funding. And it's like, everyone says that trading is not a get rich quick scheme, right? Because it's such a bad mindset to come into trading with. But if and when you get it right with funded accounts, you have got the ability to make, you've got the ability to make money is ridiculous. You just have to look at the numbers to understand, okay, well, if I could make 5% a month and I've got £1,000 to invest, as long as you've got the skill set and the ability, like, there is, crazy money to be made. And that's why I always say, like, trading, if you can get it right, is the easiest and the fastest way to make money. It is crazy. But the caveat to that is, it's not like you're not sitting down and pressing a couple of buttons. You're putting in a ton of work on the front end, so you have the ability to do that.
Yeah, put the work in first. Grind it out. Skint yourself if you need to. Don't be spending all the money. Just reinvest it. Just keep reinvesting it. When you start seeing the profit come and you start seeing, like you say, a connection chain, you're laughing. You're going to keep going. And it's always, well, when you're on like a few trade winning roll and your energy's better and you feel better, your mindset's better. So you trade better. If you're turning up to the charts, fed up, can't be arsed, tired, had to drag yourself out of bed because you went to bed at 1 a.m. and you feel like shit, your mindset's going to be affected. You're not going to look at the charts clearly.
No, 100%. So with your funded account, what's your sort of process when it comes to payouts? I mean, are you somebody that is going for like 1%, 2%, 3% payments on the account and then just getting the withdrawal? Are you growing the accounts to sort of 8, 9, 10% profit and then withdrawing? What sort of process are you following when it comes to sort of securing payouts?
June is my first month of having 200K funding. So the 100K I've had, what have I had for that for about 8 weeks, something like that. So I've only actually had one payout off that one that was profitable, and that was about 4.5%, I think.
Okay.
What I'm doing is I'm connecting all my funded accounts together at the minute, and I'm not connecting my challenges. I'm trading aggressive on my challenges. So if I say Monday morning, I hit a 5% trade on my 200k funded. I might put that funded account at the minute on the back burner for the rest of the week. I've made 5k. You know what I mean? So, well, on one of the accounts, so you'd have made 10k, 80%. So you'd have made 8k.
Yeah.
Put that on the side, and I'm just going to go aggressive for the rest of the week now on my challenges. And I'm either going to get the challenge passed or failed by that end of that week.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can vary from the strategy a bit if you're going aggressive, but don't do that when you've got funded.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that
as much as I can. And, I haven't really got goals and targets with how much I want to earn. I'm just following the process and just sticking to it.
Yeah, it's the same as business. I don't think anybody ever has a revenue target with their business, right? If the numbers align and if everything is in line and working, then you just continue to scale, right? You just continue to follow the process to see where that ends up, because you know that if you take certain actions, it's going to lead to certain results. So if you keep those actions up, then you're going to keep getting those results, and they are going to compound. So yeah, I think it's definitely good to sort of be following that process.
Yeah, I haven't got a money goal, but I've got a funded goal. I want 1 million in funding. So when I've got 1 million in funding, it doesn't matter whether I've made 2% or 10% that month. It's a shitload of money.
Yeah. It's so much easier then. Like you don't have to trade a ton to make a ton of money. It just comes naturally because you.
And you've had a good month.
Yeah.
At 1%,
mad.
that's nothing. When you're profitable, 1%'s nothing.
Yeah, I think this is the big paradox between like new traders and experienced traders. It's like so many people think that you have to make your money through the percentage and the R that you make, but that's kind of like the idiot's way of doing things, because that's like so much more difficult to do. But if you focus on scaling capital, you don't even have to be that good of a trader.
No,
because
just
you can make
profitable at the end of the month. Yeah, if
you
you're
can make
putting
2%.
on yourself saying I need to make 5R this month, you will trade like an idiot. You'll get to the end of the month at 3%, and I guarantee you'll lose that 3% by trying to chase that extra 2, because it's what happens. That is what happens. It bites you back in the arse.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You've got goals of percentages and stuff like that. Get rid of them. Just get as much funding as you can. Reinvest in funding. Grow it as fast as you can, and don't lose it.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's it.
That's the only thing that does scare me about having loads of funded accounts connected, about losing them. Getting slipped a bit of news by accident or just making a wrong decision.
But then you have more options. When you've got multiple accounts, you can then decide to say, okay, I'm going to trade one, get that into a certain amount of profit, then I'll get another account, I'll trade that to a certain, because then you're offsetting the risk, right? You've got money that's coming in irrespective of what happens. So that money's banked, it's coming out on your payout date. So the risk is reduced a lot at that point.
I don't think I'd have 1 million connected. I think, say, if you connected like 5, 6, 7, 800k, play around with a couple 100k. Be aggressive on it. You might get a 10% payout on that one, or you might lose it. And what happens if you lose it? Oh, just buy another one. Doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm profitable at the end of this month with FTMO and the end of next month, I get the feature unlocked for 600k funding with them, so I'll get another 200k with them as well. I think Alpha FTMO are my main ones at the minute.
Yeah, gives you more than enough.
Yeah, definitely. God, if you're profitable for 7 months straight with FTMO, they'll give you 1 million.
Makes sense. But yeah, cool. So, I mean, great story, of course. I mean, you've kind of been there, done it all, had all the struggles, and come out the other end and profitable, making payouts and getting a load of funding underway. So definitely a lot to be taken from this. One thing that I like to ask everybody before we come to the end of the interview is, as somebody who's been there, done it, and now got the results, what would be your top 3 tips to somebody that is either new to trading, that want to get into trading, or somebody that is trading and struggling to get results? What 3 things would you give to them to help them sort of get to, I guess, where you are?
Best bit of advice is discipline. Be disciplined with yourself. Turn up every day. If you're having every single day as a minus, still turn up. Still do the same process. Don't change it. Don't start chasing money, profit. Second one is do your weekly analysis, 100%. It's a game changer. When you're back testing, there's no emotion involved. So you compare that to the results with emotion involved, then you can try to take out the emotion. And third, just follow the process. You've got it black and white in front of you of how you trade and how you've traded for 9 years. Just follow it. Don't try and put your own little twists and turns on it when you're an amateur. Don't try and do that. You're not going to tell a pro at sports, oh, just try this. You're just going to listen, aren't you? So just listen and follow the process. Just turn up every day. Be disciplined on yourself. Just follow it.
No, 100% agree. I mean, it sounds simple in theory, but people have got to fight
It
themselves.
does.
It's often a battle in their minds to just do the right thing.
Sounds easy. It's took me a year. I mean, I've really knuckled down in the last probably 4 months, 5 months. The rest of that is you're in and out of concentration. You're in and out of almost giving a shit. You know, you've paid the money. Just take the most out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, like I said, I think there's a huge amount to be taken from this. I mean, you've kind of done if you looked at anybody's story that has gone from not doing the right thing to getting the results, you've kind of done the very typical sort of thing that a lot of those people do. So as always, there's going to be a lot to take from that for those guys that are in that position of struggling. So yeah, thanks for jumping on with me, mate. We'll have to get another one in when we get to that million mark. We'll get another interview booked in, and we'll share some more stories.
Hopefully by year end.
Fingers crossed.